Okay, take 3. Let's go. Yes, that's right. This is the third time I'm recording this video today. And would you believe it? I've messed it up for the third time, but I'm just going to go ahead with it anyway. So, folks, welcome back to the channel. There's a few things going on that I'm not too happy with, but we'll get onto that in another video. But for now, there's good stuff going on. There's bad stuff going on. And that's always going to be the case, isn't it? Now, we have this huge issue in crypto, which is the law of attraction. Now, your brain will not be triggered in a positive way by anything that's negative. Normally, you will call this FUD. But there's a lot of truth surrounding sometimes FUD, and I always address anything that's FUD. I look to see if it's true or false, and everything in between. So, what I want to talk to you guys first about is, excuse me. Oh, my voice must have went like really raspy then. I felt like I chucked up a stitch. Anchor Protocol's been removed from TERRA Station. This is really good because it was a Ponzi scheme. It was used to borrow on the blockchain and stuff like that, as far as I'm aware, and it's part of the issue, what was the capitulation. Now, really good to see that it's gone. So in other words, what I'm saying to you is forget about Anchor Protocol. It's not part of our system. In fact, the thing should be thrown in a fire and burnt to the crisp and listen to it screech. But, you know, personal opinion. So let's move over to now, which is one of the big elephants in the room, and it's USTC. Aside all of the issues with USTC, one of the biggest issues is it's likely going to get dragged into a court case. Why? Well, because it's the first algorithmic stablecoin of its kind, and it's a huge failure. It didn't work. Greediness got the better of people, and they erased the emotion, went for the money. And it's as simple as that. And this new legislation that could be put into place, and there'll be a study going on right now of stablecoins. I have no doubt about it. But the whole thing behind this article is pretty much saying about how it's likely going to get dragged into a court case, and we have all these issues that we just don't know who owns it. And if we revive this coin as a community, as a movement itself, we're probably going to become liable for it, and that's scary for me. It's scary to think that the United States would go after us, SEC would likely go after us, and there is points of call. Just the same way there's points of call with TFL. There's points of call now with Terra Rebels because they've put themselves in charge of a blockchain. Meaning that, A, they're in charge, so they're likely going to get dragged into the court case. If they revive it, they become responsible for it. And maybe this is something that Do Kwon wants. Maybe this is something Do Kwon wants someone to revive it, and they become responsible. When he goes, well, I left it. I left it because it was a failed thing. You know, it all comes into, do we ever want to get to this point where we start having to discuss these things? No, we don't. So what I'm going to do is leave a link to this in the description for this video. Do go and have a listen. That's right, you can just listen to it. It's really good. I'm not going to play it during this video, although I could. You need to know that these things are happening in the background, and regulation is coming, and it's coming even faster than it was before because of this capitulation and crash. So, you know, think carefully about, and, you know, I know there's more of a drive to repeg USTC and to reduce the burn tax for whatever crazy reason than there is for utility use cases. And we really need to get this drive on utility use cases. Maybe think about starting a stable coin that's actually pegged by something that's real. Because otherwise we're just going to be, and this is the way I see it, we're going to end up in that same boat. And then the same community is going to get, you know, done twice over. It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic nonetheless. I'm willing to discuss it. I'm always going to be this guy that honestly believes that USTC should be forgotten about. We should create our own stablecoin. Many of my people that I speak to agree with me about that. And if you don't know what Project Libra was, go look at Project Libra and see what happened with that, okay? And this was Facebook's algorithmic stablecoin, okay? So do go have a look. And just understand the system in itself. And they talk about it being decentralized, but the way it is right now is the voting power itself is pretty centralized. And we're starting to see more and more centralization happening in LUNACLASSIC. Although you folks may not see it, I do. And I see it to be quite a big issue. And I'm waiting to become a validator before I open my mouth about it. So no one can't then say to me, you know, well, you're not even a validator. Why should we listen to you? Why do you get to say anything about anything? So at least then I can kind of say, you know, well, I'm a validator and, you know, I care for the community. I care for the decentralization aspect. That's why I love this coin, is because it's supposed to be super decentralized. But the way things are, I'm not seeing that. Like, I'm really not seeing that. There's an issue that I have at the moment, as you folks know, with the node situation inside Terra Rebels, and I think it's quite possible they'll control 4 nodes once new validators are allowed to come online, because as far as I'm aware, they have 3 nodes from 3 members, and it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, it's exactly the same as if Do Kwon and TFL made 4 nodes and used those 4 nodes, you know, to vote. Imagine the uproar there. So I see it as one big, huge conflict of interest. And I understand they need to get paid, but I don't understand the necessity for 4 nodes to do this. It's worrying. And this is where the centralization aspect comes into it, because they're the people that have now, you know, written out a whole system. They've got a website. They are pretty much becoming, you know, a company in themselves, or whatever you want to call it, a DAO or whatever. They are, you know, the power that be. They're the top of the food chain. And I think it's a huge conflict of interest that they have members that have nodes, and then they have a node themselves. I believe that it should all be put under one banner. Terra Rebels has a node, and if you're a member of Terra Rebels working, you shouldn't really be able to have a node, because you could, you know, it becomes a huge conflict of interest, doesn't it? You become good friends with someone at Terra Rebels, and then you both say to each other, you know, I'm just going to vote whatever you vote. And my worry then becomes is that, you know, we'll never ever get a choice, really. Even with proposals getting put up, we still won't actually get that choice. And even now, like, you're not able to decide where the manpower goes, right? You're not able to say to them, can we really, you know, follow this route and, you know, look for utility use cases adoption. Instead, you're pretty much having them do what they think is best for the blockchain itself. But the community is a powerful thing, and they should listen to the community. And I know the community is screaming out for use cases. What I see at the moment is a load of moon boys, you know, pump, you know, come on, next pump. It's going to pump soon. I get it. It's, you know, I'm not part of this whole moon boy situation thing. I don't have this moon mind thing. I know how a proper cryptocurrency needs to be built, and it needs to be built organically. Built off of use cases that are solid, not cutting corners, not trying to take shortcuts, and really just getting down, knuckling our heads down, and actually looking for these different kind of, because there's more than just creating utility. You can go to places, look for use cases. You can actually innovate, you know, current ideas from other blockchains. You can innovate that technology, you know, reverse engineer it, and then use it on LUNACLASSIC. It's as simple as that. And this happens throughout everything. This happens even with, you know, mechanical parts for cars. That's why you have OEM parts and then, you know, aftermarket parts. So very interesting. And, you know, guys, regardless of how you feel about what I've just said, the differences between myself and other influencers stuff, I'm not a yes man. I'm not going to not say something because it's going to upset people. And if you believe that it's okay for Terra Rebels to control 4 nodes, then you don't understand what decentralization truly is. And I find it to be a bigger issue. I believe if you're a validator, there should be a law that, you know, you can only have 1 node because of the decentralization aspect. So very interesting stuff. Like I said, there's always good stuff and bad stuff going on. It's always going to be like that. And I'm always going to be that guy. You know, I'm prepared to take it on the chin. I understand it's going to upset some people because, you know, Terra Rebels turned the blockchain back on. That's what I always like to say to people as well. They turned it back on, and like Duquan said, anyone with conceptual mastery could have done that. In fact, my dev team could have done that between them. It's just the amount of hours and stuff you put into it. It's as simple as that. And in fact, one of my devs in two of their most recent white papers. So very interesting, to see, we're always there. We're always helping regardless of what people think. I'm just going to tell the truth at all times, and then I'm always going to be helping at the same time. So I always stand in the middle and with the community and helping the movement. So, I have no need to lie. I have no need to go over pointless topics and stuff like that. I only like to, keep you up to date with what's current, what's actually happening, and how I feel, because I think it's very important that if I'm worried, if my brain's saying, well, this is flagging alarms, then I have no doubt if I was to tell people and explain exactly what's going on, it's probably going to raise alarms in your head too. So let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section. And realistically, there's not really much we can do about it unless, one of us comes up with a proposal, and we can only do it as a text proposal. We won't be able to enforce it because we're not TR members, and there's this huge issue, isn't there, where it's like, are we? Hang on. Ooh. Yeah. So, folks, have a really nice evening wherever you are, Monday tomorrow. And like I said, maybe it's time for us to step back from USTC. It's becoming a real talking point in the mainstream media as well, especially people like Cointelegraph covering it. So stay safe, not financial advice, beware of scammers, and I will catch you in the next one. Shalom!